The reflective practitioner using the staged model of reflection needs to look in on the experience and also look out on the experience. And in terms of using John's model, looking in requires the reflective practitioner to find a suitable space, some time alone perhaps, to focus on themselves and pay attention to their emotional response to their experiences in school, and to pay attention to the way they're thinking about their professional role. And with cue questions, this gives an opportunity for the reflective practitioner to write down these ideas, these thoughts, these emotions, in order to create a record that can be reflected on. Looking out requires the reflective practitioner to write a description of the context surrounding those thoughts and feelings, and what issues then become significant in relation to the external influencing factors. And as we saw, there are particular patterns of knowing for the reflective practitioner. And one pattern of knowing is related to the aesthetics of the professional role. And in order to guide the reflection process, the reflective practitioner working with a supervisor or a mentor can consider patterns of knowing within an aesthetical framework. And what this means is the cue questions are considering aspects about what the individual, what the teacher was trying to achieve with particular approaches in the classroom, and why they were using those particular approaches. And in this area also, the reflective practitioner is considering the particular consequences of these actions, not only for themselves, but also, of course, for the students, and perhaps even wider than that, for the wider school community, there could be consequences. And in terms of the wider school community, the aesthetics aspect of knowing can be looking at how others in the school, how colleagues or other professionals might be considering their actions. And then, of course, there are personal ways of knowing for teachers. And this relates to personal understandings, beliefs and values around the role of teachers and how these are affecting the teaching situations. And in terms of personal ways of knowing, there are personal responses that we have to experiences which affect what we know and how we know. And then, of course, there are ethical patterns of knowing. And for a professional, this means that we're considering questions which are helping us focus on the reasons why we do things and whether we're actually doing things for the people we're working with. Are we doing the best for the students? And what factors within ourselves are embodied by ourselves or embodied by the school or by others that we work with, influencing the way we're acting. And then there is an empirical aspect of knowing. In other words, what knowledge informs our practice, what literature that we've read, what courses have we undertaken, where we've acquired understandings which we're trying to apply in the classroom. And then, of course, there's reflexivity. This is part of the process where the individual teacher is not so much being reflective, but actually being reflexive. Or in other words, looking at their response to particular situations and how they are making connections with their actions and with knowledge and their actions. And what would be the consequences, therefore, of changing actions and applying other knowledge, new knowledge to our processes, to our approaches, and how this creates new experiences, and how, of course, we feel about those experiences that we're having. And in terms of being reflexive within the model, what we're looking to do is seeing whether we can continue to support this ongoing process. And so we need to consider asking questions of ourselves about the consequences of these particular actions. And we can also consider how much we're being responsive to people's needs, how much we're interacting with people, what's our availability for the students and for the parents of the students that we're working with.